What made me realize that I miss Singapore was when I heard the Chinese New Year music. Gong si gong si gong si di, gong si gong si gong si di. It just reminded me, that triggered a memory of how much I love Singapore. Hi, I'm Michael John. I'm 46 years old and I'm from the Philippines. Pangalan, Michael John. Ako, 46 years old, from the Philippines. Actually, my Tagalog is Itian because I grew up at an international school, so sorry for the mispronunciations, my fellow Filipinos. Originally, my mom wanted to give birth to me in Singapore, but she got sick. And so while she was in Philippines, the doctor said, you have to give birth here. And so my mom gave birth to me in Philippines, and then a month later, we moved to Singapore. I went to a Chinese school. And so my first language besides English was Chinese. And then my second language was Japanese, because all my playmates were Japanese. When I got older, my parents wanted me in an American system like the Philippines, and the possibility that we might move to Canada. And so after that, they had transferred me to Singapore American School. Growing up in that school, I had friends from Japan, China, the Middle East, India, Indonesia, America, England, Australia, and we learned to become friends, even though we couldn't speak the same language initially. It's not cool, but it was like a cool thing to talk about your country. It's like everyone was going through an identity crisis. And initially, I felt that I had to pretend to like the country that I'm from better than Singapore. And other people from other countries would do the same. But actually, I always loved Singapore as a kid. And when I came back here as an adult, it reminded me that I've always loved Singapore. I was going to school in Arkansas, in John Brown University, and I studied psychology. And my first few jobs after that were in Ohio. I worked as a lifeguard, I was a part-time physical therapist, I was a recreation coordinator for the mentally disabled. I thought previously that I would live in America forever because that's usually the pattern that Filipinos do. Have 2.5 kids and a white picket fence, but that wasn't the case. During that time, I had an offer to be promoted in my company. And around that time, my senior pastor in Singapore, who used to be my youth pastor, invited me to being a youth pastor in Singapore because he wanted someone that could work with both expatriate and Singaporean cultures. So knowing me from before, he figured that I could cross different cultures and different worlds. And so I came to Singapore to see if I would possibly work here. And then I fell in love with Singapore and I said, this feels like home and I belong here. When I heard the song Gong Si Gong Si Ni, it reminded me of the times that I was invited as a child to different households to celebrate Chinese New Year, or even strangers like us and treating us like family. It reminded me of the amazing smells, the foods, the games, and then I felt like this is home. Working as a youth pastor, it was fun because I got to meet people from different cultures and I had to adjust to different cultures because different cultures, you have to behave differently and there's different forms of respect, different manners. After 5 years of being in Singapore, so I went back to the Philippines because my grandma was sick, so I went back to take care of her. I was initially thinking I'd only be there for 3 months, but then I ended up staying there for 10 years. I helped her in the family business. And I also would do part-time bodyguarding, and I was involved in a VIP bulletproof armor business while I was there. During the time when I was in the armor business, I started having an interest again in health. And so I remember that I grew up with a fitness instructor, which is my mom. She would make sure we eat our vegetables, make sure we do our push-ups and our laps. One time when I had a love handle, my mom was like, what's that? I'm like, what's what? What's what? Fitness was always a part of my life in spite of the many different jobs I have done. Everything has led up to this. Working with people and wanting to help people grow, I find it as a fitness instructor. It's quite different from my job before as a youth pastor, but I enjoy that I can interact with a different kind of group of people. It's not just young people, it's old people, it's kids, it's teenagers, it's a diversity of people and also different races as well. So it's not just about fitness, but it's about helping each other, sharing life on life. Yeah. So working as a fitness instructor now, I meet people from a wide variety of backgrounds, races, and religion. And that's what I love about Singapore. I like going to places like Little India, Chinatown, Arab Street, and also Kampong Glam. I do like coming to Little India very so often, a few times a month, because they have things that are very interesting, and I just love the atmosphere. It's just so different, and I love the food, of course, the smells, the sights, the sounds, and seeing people dance as well. Sometimes I see them dancing, random on the street, and random strangers joining in, so I find it very cool. Actually, it's quite fun to shop here. So I have friends that are expat when they visit Singapore. I like to bring them to places like this because you get really good deals on material. The material's quite nicely made and it's not so pricey. I enjoy coming here, especially during the festivals, whether it be Deepavali or even other festivals, just to see them celebrate and interact with one another. Since I live around here, I'm here nearly every day. I like seeing, especially during the time of festivities, whether you do the fireworks, the lion dance, the dragon dance as well. Here the uncles like to play Chinese checkers or Chinese chess. It's fun to see them get happy or get angry. It's all a lot of fun, and they'll be drinking coffee or drinking beer while doing it. It's every day that we see it. And then there'll be some cool uncles that'll dance with the bird here. And I like to try to dance with them for fun. Sometimes. So one of the great things about Singapore is the microcosms of different cultures. Singapore is the only country that I know where you have all these cultures really close to each other. You can go to Little India, and then a few MRT stops away, you can go to Chinatown. Then from there, you can go to Kampong Glam. Even though there are different festivals with people of Indian descent, Chinese descent, or Malay descent, it's about relationships and connecting with other people. And that's what I enjoy. That is a commonality with all the different races in Singapore and all the different festivals celebrated. Even though we're all different, we're all the same in that we're all human beings and we all need to work together. In spite of race, culture, or different religions, we all need one another. Same, but different. But same. Being in different countries, growing up, and traveling a lot all my life, it made me realize that I cannot find a country like Singapore. It's only in Singapore that one can have this diversity and mix of people, and they all get along. And we're all at peace with each other, though we are different. Dear younger Mike, this letter is from your future self. I want you to know that you are important and loved no matter how different and weird you may be. I want you to know that love is the key. Loving yourself and loving others. Be open to people that you may deem different than you. Realize that every human being from different races and ethnicities are precious and worth loving and being understood. Learn from others, as others will also learn from you, and find good-hearted mentors that treasure humans over material things. And you yourself must treasure people and relationships over material things. Remember to pursue peace in your heart and know that you can live a life free from fear. Defend the helpless and the weak and be a voice for the voiceless. Yours truly, Michael John Mercado Reyes.